Morning.
Good morning. Happy bosses and the blend, everybody. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. I have my blend today.
Yeah, what is it? Oh,
It's
looks good.
it's that greens powder that makes it look that color, but it's
Yeah.
banana and greens and
Yeah.
almond and
I
all the
mean,
stuff.
anything green is delicious, though.
I
That's
don't
what I tell
know.
my kids anyways. It's true.
I just
Um, it's true. Like they do green machine and stuff like that.
yeah.
I think they are delicious as long as you have the right blend. Now,
Mhm.
when the only thing I don't like is spirulina. So if you have
Oh.
that, I'm like, eh.
Mm.
But I have just straight up black iced coffee. So what are you all drinking out there? What are you enjoying this morning, afternoon, or midnight?
Wherever you are in the world. You could be having gelato like our friends in Rome.
Yes, that's
Um,
right.
okay, I'm ready for IG. Are you?
Yes.
I'm gonna
Somebody's
go ahead.
eating coffee flavored jelly beans. That sounds delicious. Okay.
Good morning, Instagram. It is Bosses in the Blend. This is our last one for a little bit. We do these in
The
series now.
season, yeah,
The
the
season
season wrap up.
finale. Um,
Yes. Not the series finale, just the season
so
finale.
Mina's going to join us. I'm talking to her over on the Facebook, but Mina's going to join us over here on Instagram. We're going to go live. We are on Instagram. We are over here on Facebook in our groups. So great to see everybody. Hello. Okay, see Mina. We're going to bring her on and get going, my friend. Looks like Joe is drinking Rasa coffee, alternative for stress support. Love it. Um, good morning, good afternoon from Lanzarote, Canary Islands, Spain. What are you drinking over there?
Hello, hello. Good morning, everybody.
I can hear you on both I can hear you out.
Oh, I think because you have two earbuds in, you just pick one. Um, that's why. Oh, huh. That's weird. Can everybody hear me okay? Oh, okay. Yeah, and since yeah, thank you for the reminder yesterday that my luscious locks, everybody, as I like to call them, they were rubbing along here. So I have to remember that when I use these headphones that are Instagram attached, that I don't let it hang, like that, which I have to remember because sometimes we're doing like podcast recordings and whatnot. Okay, I mean, everybody's sharing with us what they're drinking, and it sounds so delicious. Somebody's drinking strong black tea with milk. I never thought to put milk in my black tea, but that does sound delicious. That's kind of like the British or the English tea, yeah? Does English tea, you drink that with milk, right? Ada says she's having coffee with cinnamon and cloves and a little bit of heavy whipping cream. No sugar. That sounds amazing. What are y'all drinking on Instagram? And welcome, by the way, to Bosses in the Blend. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, somebody over here on Instagram says they're drinking Earl Grey with lavender honey. That sounds luxurious. I love it. Right? Yeah.
What the?
Yeah,
What in
and the thing is I only have the one headphones in, so it's like I'm just going by Instagram at this point.
so proud of us when we joined just before and your mute wasn't on. And then like you could just pop on and we were talking and then it just all everything broke loose on me. Okay, good. Thank you,
Yeah,
everyone.
you know why? Is because I'm trying to use like every minute of being on this like surge of energy. So I don't know if this is all of you that are my fellow introverts or whatever it is, but I get surges of energy. And so I've been using this energy. I'm like, okay, I'm up here right now. So I'm going to do whatever I can. So right before this, I was trying to record a podcast intro that we needed to have for somebody. And then after 3 tries, I was like, you know what? Today's not the day. Like right now in this moment, 1 minute before boss is in the blend is not the time.
You probably need to do
So
that after this, huh?
yeah, I do. But I was like, you know what? I can do this one take. That's how up here I am.
Should we
And
do it right
it
now
didn't
and just
happen.
clip it out?
It didn't happen. No, it's okay. It's only a minute long. And it was just like I was tripping up in the words and whatnot. So I'll be fine after this because then I'll have talked to somebody for a bit, you know?
Mm-hmm. Totally. I just had a really random idea. We could technically record a podcast right now. Like we could like
I
show them
mean,
how
that's
we
what we kind of do.
I know, but we could show them how we like intro into it and then go into
Okay.
our thing. Should we do that? Does anyone want to see us like record a podcast? This is how we do it. Let
Okay.
us know.
I mean, we usually when we record podcasts, Jacqueline and I spend about 30 minutes talking about the bullet points and things like that. So it's gonna be more off the cuff here. Because we won't have that prep time that keeps things kind of flowing in the workshop style
We did
podcast episode.
we did come up with an idea for today. So
We did. We
that's
have
how we do
a
it.
direction. So one talking point.
Is my sound okay? I think Jennifer's like, yeah. Okay, you could edit it, yeah? Yeah, okay. Really quick though, before we go into podcast recording, I say podcast because we're serious podcasters over here.
That's like yesterday when it's like we're going live. No reason for those air quotes besides why not?
Podcasters. But we woke up this morning. I actually fell asleep last night at 7:30, by the way.
You did?
I
That's
got
a
into bed.
lot. Oh, you know what? That's probably true. I did the math in my head because I was like, I talked to you last night, but I forgot you're
You
2
did
hours
at like
behind me.
5 o'clock my time. So I got it. I told my kids I was so tired. I was driving home and I was talking to you and I was like, I'm so tired. I'm going to cry. That's how tired I was. And then I was like, I told my kids, like, let's just get into bed and watch TV. I didn't want to do bedtime. I didn't want to do anything. I was just like, get into bed.
Oh God, I
I
love bedtime.
just need to lay down. And I fell asleep we started watching Caesar, the dog whisperer. He has a new show.
Oh,
And
okay. News alert.
on Disney. News alert, everybody. We're trying to learn how to train our dogs. And I fell asleep during it. And then I woke up this morning and I looked at my like Aura ring and it was like, you got almost 10 hours of sleep. And I got a 95 sleep score. So
Nice. The
yes.
sleep fallacy is that you can catch up on your sleep though.
No, I
So
know. I know I'm not catching up. I just needed 10 hours of sleep.
yes. So it's not like you're bucketing those in and you get to stay up real late. You just need to consistently get a good night's sleep, you know.
Totally. Sleep fallacy. Alert, alert.
So if
So
you want to fall asleep, watch Caesar the Dog Whisperer, because he's got a new series out.
Or being launched and supporting tens of thousands of people
Yeah.
for weeks and then be like, okay, I can go to sleep. But here's what happened. I went to sleep, but last night we were talking and we had closed the doors to Multi-Stream Machine yesterday at 7 p.m. Eastern. So that was 4 o'clock my time. And when you and I were talking, people inevitably missed the deadline. I know I know a lot of you have gotten a lot of emails and text messages and posts and you've been here with us. But not everybody, like we have like almost 100,000 people on our mailing list, right?
Yeah,
so not
we
everybody
close
knows.
the doors, and we usually, like, at least me, I'm like, ooh, the doors are closed. I even I made tacos last night. That's how much like a relief of the doors are closed. And I was getting very cranky. I needed to eat something. It was Tuesday, Taco Tuesday. And here's the crazy thing. I didn't even tell you this. So we eat, it's delicious. It was me and my oldest daughter. My youngest didn't want to eat it, so she ate some chicken strips. And then my husband, he's on a special diet for he's trying to lower his cholesterol for the next 90 days, right? So he didn't eat it. So we ate it and I'm just like, okay, it was delicious, whatever. So I'm looking at the box thinking, I haven't made tacos in a really long time. And I'm looking at the box. We ate 2-year-old expired taco shells. I dropped the box and I was like, oh my God.
At least it wasn't like expired meat.
It's true. They didn't taste bad. Maybe they weren't as crisp.
They probably have so many preservatives.
They were Ortega, so they
time.
probably were preserved. But you should have seen the drama. I was just like, dropped it like it was like a hot, on fire box. Like, this is expired. 2 years.
So you bought this during 2020 when we were hoarding taco shells.
I made tacos, so There was that last night. So that's where we both each side.
Yeah,
Jacqueline
I
was
was
thinking
asleep.
I was doing this.
She was throwing taco shells around our house. But then we started getting messages from our team and they were like, "Hey, people are emailing us like the doors are closed. We have team members that were taking phone calls and video and team and they're like, we're getting messages like people are still on the fence about joining multi-stream machine. What do we do?" And there were enough of you that did not take us up on this offer, even though we've let you all know about it for a long time. And I say this because, and I'm saying this as a model to all of you, where when we coach you about sending emails and you're like, I don't want to bother anybody, but like we bother people and still they miss it. So we don't bother people. We're here to give you information. So yeah, so
Yeah,
what we
I mean, this is literally what we tell them not to think. You're not bothering people, you're offering them up something, and it is true. Here's how the conversation went. Last night we were like, our team, well, this morning our team was like, "Can we open the doors for these people that,
can we give
that
them like a back door in?" And
yeah,
there
can
were
we give them
enough
a
of
backdoor
you.
in?"
We
And
were like,
there was a good amount of people, which I hate to just like give those people because I mean, I was like, everybody should have a chance at this. So we kind of went back and forth. Jack was like, should we open up the doors? And I was like, should we? Should we? Should we? Should we? And then
let's
it
just do it.
happened. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's just do it. So
So the doors to multi-stream machine are open just once again. We open them at 10
for
a.m. Eastern.
12 hours only. We've already missed 2 hours.
I think it's only an hour.
An hour. Yeah. Okay.
Who knows what time it is? I'm like, it's 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay. 10 to 10 Eastern today. We're just opening them again. A few of you have already taken us up on this because I think a lot of people were like, oh my goodness, I missed it and I regret missing it. And so MSM is open again just for 12 hours for any of you that were like, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. You let the doors close and then you're like, oh, I should have done it. So if anyone was on the fence and they're like, they regretted not doing it, just to let you know, and it's at multistreammachine.com. Is that one open again? Or is it okay?
Mhm.
It's multistreammachine.com. So we'll hope to see a few of you in there, right? Like the
If you
universe is
regret,
calling.
if FOMO really hit you last night while I was eating those
Tacos and I
expired
was
taco shells, then now is the time to get in. You have a second chance. And like somebody said on Facebook, I've lived to tell the tale of this, so
they live to tell the tale of
oh yeah,
surviving
Joni,
eating
she's like,
tacos.
yeah, yes. So the doors were shut and now they're back open for a brief period. And it is literally the last chance, your second chance in a lot of ways, which,
Yeah.
if you believe in second chances like we do, here's your opportunity, snatch it up.
Here it is. Okay. So one of the things we wanted to talk about, and we can record it like a podcast
Yeah,
and then we'll
and I wanna
see.
make sure if this is gonna be a podcast, somebody said that it's, breaking up on Facebook, but it's good on
It's
Instagram.
not.
It Oh, it's fine. Okay, that's good. Okay. So you know how I am with sound on the podcast. Okay, so, proceed.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Okay, so I was inspired by Sanera Madhani. We're actually going to be interviewing her on Friday to be on the
So, just to
podcast.
let you know, this is a crazy exciting week. Tomorrow, we release, a podcast episode. Is it tomorrow of
With
my
Amy.
favorite person? Yeah, Amy. Well, geez, that was
Not
anticlimactic.
everybody knows who Amy is. Does everyone know what the Amy is that we're talking about? They're not all in our world.
We interviewed Amy Porterfield, which I admire so much. Jacqueline does too. And that airs tomorrow. And then not only that, but we have such huge podcast
We're going to be
recordings.
on her podcast,
Yes.
actually.
Yes.
CEO School podcast.
Yeah. And so Sanir, who is so amazing, she's of CEO School. She's created $1 billion business, which, believe it or not, is called a unicorn business. When the first time I've ever heard that, like forever ago, I thought that was like a fake news. Like you don't really call it like unicorn, but it's true. It's called a unicorn business when it hits $1 billion, and she built that, which is so incredible. And so we have her recording with us on Friday, so that's super exciting.
Yeah, we're going to be on CEO School. But she just made this huge announcement, and her announcement was that her and her brother have actually decided to step down and leave Stacks Payments as the CEO. But they built, like Minna said, this $1 billion business on there, and they still retain ownership of it and things like that. So I thought that was one, incredible. But two, she is featured in this one. Let's see, Inc. magazine said female billionaires, moguls, and CEOs keep offering women the exact same career advice. 4 separate superstars have all said the same thing. So this is Oprah, Dolly Parton, Melinda Gates, and Sanira have all said the same thing. And so that was the inspiration to today's episode, or what we want to talk about today. So we're going to call it an episode because that's
Yeah.
what we're doing here.
Yeah. Right. We'll decide on the title later and the bullet points. Okay. So do you want to should we start it out like we do a podcast episode?
Yeah, and I'm just going to drop for you, Minna, in our private chat the article so you can see it.
Okay.
So what Minna and I do, just for all of you, because we're going to record this podcast live, is we typically talk about what the community needs to hear, what they need to know, where are we at, because we gauge this all from working with so many of you, and then we think, okay, what do they need to know, and then we start to release that information. So sometimes you'll hear on our Monday episodes, they're a little bit more mindset, they are ways of inspiring you, they're more rounded, and then Thursday tends to be where we get into like the workshop style podcast episodes. So if you're not subscribed already to the Product Boss podcast, or if you're not a follower because they've changed it all, please go follow the show anywhere that you listen, and also leave a review if you can, especially for all of our new friends here. So we have had our team watch us record podcasts before, and they're like, you just do it like that? And we're like, yes, because we actually usually come up with the idea. We'll come up with bullet points, but a lot of this is just free flow talking between the two of us. Minna and I are like a tennis match. We bounce ideas off of each other, and we work really well in that way. So you'll see that we're just kind of going off an idea here. And this is going to be probably one of our shorter episodes. Like end up being a Monday episode, but you'll get to watch it live with us here.
Yeah.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. Let's do this.
All right. I'm going to just clap so we know the beginning. Jennifer's excited. She's leading in. Okay. Ready?
Yeah.
Did we do, you know what? Let's do QuickTime on our computers.
QuickTime. Okay.
Let's
so just some tech. See, you all, I'm very proud of us. So please be very proud of us, even though I just literally real life ate expired 2-year-old taco shells. But in real life, when we get tech, we are like so proud of ourselves. So there's a lot of tech that happens. So there's always comments happening. There's, all these different things. And when we're recording podcast episodes, we actually record on Zoom and on QuickTime, and we have to sync it to each other. So it's a lot of happenings. And this time we're throwing in StreamYard. So this will be very interesting.
But at least we know we'll have our audio no matter what happens with StreamYard over on our QuickTime.
That's true. Okay.
And the thing
is turning it on. Did you turn yours on yet?
I'll turn it on right now.
Okay. It's on.
Okay, I'm on. Okay, so this is going to be, we don't know the name of it yet, but this is going to be the podcast episode where we talk about what female billionaires, moguls, and CEOs keep offering women with the same exact career advice. It's going to be something along the lines of that.
Yeah, like $1 billion advice would be something along those lines.
Yeah. Okay. Let me just say this in so our editor can hear us and kind of know where we're going with this. And then we go from there. All right. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode. Jacqueline and Minna here. And we are so excited. This is actually being recorded live on one of our Instagram/Facebook. It's called Bosses in the Blend. And we do this series of live videos once a week. And we're going to record this live with kind of like a live studio audience. Are you excited?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So excited. This is our last episode of this season. So why not go out with a bang of having it in front of a live studio audience where where we can kind of see what your thoughts are as we're on the fly recording.
Yes, absolutely. So we wanted to talk about, we've had so many new students join Multi-Stream Machine. It's our signature program. And, there's a lot of stuff that we saw that when we're, people are thinking about signing up, thinking about joining. Now, Minna and I can tell you all the reasons why this program has the exact tools that you need, right? That all the happenings, like the strategy, you want the steps to grow your business, we have it inside of Multi-Stream Machine. But what we realize a lot of times too is that it's a mindset thing, right? There's a lot of mindset that truly gets in the way, especially for women. I tend to feel like it's a pull, it's a push, it's a I should be something else. I need to feel differently. Like there's just a lot of mind stuff that goes on that actually prevents a lot of people from investing in themselves and believing if they had the right tools and they had the strategy that they too would be equipped to grow their business because other stuff gets in the way. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I think this is something because, growing up, we hit so many different things and we start to accumulate, I don't know, like these limiting beliefs and to our own like subconscious, we don't mean to do it. And then it's like, so when we're growing up, we're taking it day by day. There's things that we think that we're supposed to be doing, or we think that, society is set for us, or these beliefs that we're unsure of that are not actually our own. And I think that as we start to become our own human person and discover things about ourselves, that we realize different things that we have to let go of at the same time. And it's always mindset. It's always in your mind, um, where you need to start. But I wanted to talk a little bit about the inspiration behind all of this, the article that you found,
Yeah.
because I think that that advice will kick off what we really want them to walk away with in this episode.
Yeah. So as I was surfing the Instagram this morning, I found this article that Sanira, okay, I need to say this name correctly. So editor, you're going to edit this out. But Sanira Madhani, she posted this. Now she's the founder of Stacks, and we're really honored to be because she's also the host of CEO School, and we are going to be on that podcast, and she will be on our podcast eventually. But she posted this one article from Inc. magazine that was written about her, and it's titled "Female Billionaires, Moguls, and CEOs Keep Offering Women the Exact Same Career Advice. Four separate superstars have all said this is the secret of success." And these superstars are Oprah Winfrey, Melinda Gates, Dolly Parton, and Sanira Madhani, right? And like just incredible advice. And so I was reading through this and I was like, you know what? This advice needs to be shared with more people. We're not all on the internet reading Inc. magazine, all the things. And I was like, and what does Oprah have to say? Because obviously,
I mean, all those people could just be first name people, right? Like Madonna,
right.
right? Oprah, Dolly, Sanira, Melinda, right? We all go to them because they are literally thought leaders. They're disruptors of our world, So hit us with it. What is the
Yeah.
advice?
So the overall advice that they are all giving in their own different way is that, and this is what Oprah said back in 2019 on a 60 Minutes interview. And she said that she didn't want to pretend to be someone she's not. So she quit. And then, so she quit, right? So what a great lesson for ambitious women is I thought if an opportunity requires you to be deeply inauthentic, it's not the right opportunity for you. So the idea here is that, and Dolly Parton says the same thing, right? Like fitting in is overrated. Or I think maybe Melinda Gates said that. But the thing is that a lot of us believe that we need to be something differently. We need to come off as something differently, that whatever we are authentically is not right. I mean, here's the air quotes again. It's not right. It's not the thing, right? But they're saying if you want to be a superstar, first, just be yourself.
Yeah.
So good.
I love that. Oftentimes, and I think this refers back to what Jacqueline was saying about a lot of women have this feeling of imposter syndrome, that they feel like they're not enough, or that they have to adjust, or they have to, sometimes they're too much, right? Or they're not enough, they're too much, whatever it is, they feel like they don't belong in the room or at the table. And I think that is definitely true. We see that so much for the women that are around us, when it just takes shifting that belief inward to yourself to know that you, my friend, have it all along. It's like Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. You have everything it takes. It will just take you lifting that limiting belief to believe it for yourself, and then it will overpour into everything that you do. But
Yeah.
you don't have to be anything that you're not, right?
Yeah. And Dawn says, I'm definitely too much for people. And I'm going to disagree because this is what Dolly Parton said. Okay. So she said, when asked for the worst advice she's ever received, she said it was to tone down her style without smaller hair and fewer rhinestones. She said, nobody was ever going to take me seriously, they would say, right? I just like to look the way I look. I'm so outgoing inside. I need the way I look to match all of that. What would happen if Dolly Parton was boring? Like,
I
it
mean, she
wouldn't be
wouldn't be
Dolly Parton.
Dolly, right?
There wouldn't be like Dollyland, and she wouldn't be this icon for people and this representation. So there's no too much for people. There is just your people and not your people, right? This is the same thing we say about your products. You want to attract the right people and you want to repel other people. You want to attract the right people and you want to repel other people. Mina and I are not for everybody, and that's okay because there are enough people. I want to bring this back to just a business tip. I know we're going into like ourselves, but the founders of Zappos, the shoe company, when they started that way back in the day, remember, we used to not shop online for our young people out there. The
Yeah.
internet did
Are you
not
talking about
always exist.
Tony Shea?
Yeah.
Okay.
And in his book, he
Mhm.
wrote that when they decided to start Zappos, Zappos was a shoe company online where people would buy shoes online. And all of the naysayers were like, people have to go into shoe stores. They have to put their foot in the little silver thing, decide how big their foot is. They have to try the shoes on. They have to walk around in them. And then they make that decision to buy it. But what they realized was that 5% of shoes were sold through catalog, right? Again, for my young people out there, we used to get these catalogs in the mail. You would like pick what you wanted. You'd mail in the thing with a check, whole thing,
A physical catalog.
paper with numbers. And they said 5% of this, I don't remember if they thought it was like, I think it was like $1 billion industry or something. 5% was a huge amount of money. They didn't need the entire industry. They needed a small portion of the industry. They started Zappos, they started selling shoes online, and look at where we are now. So the thing that I want you all to realize is that there are always going to be naysayers. There's always going to be people that say there's no way that this, oh, you're too much. You're too much is exactly perfect for who you are.
Yeah.
You are a like whatever you are, however you are is perfect. And that's the thing that we've got Melinda Gates and Oprah Winfrey saying, right? We've got Dolly Parton, we've got Sanira saying that the thing for all of you is that the worst advice is to change and to fit in. The best
Mhm.
advice is to just be authentic to who you are.
Yeah. Like Jacqueline said, there's always going to be naysayers. There's always going to be people in the room. I'm sure you've met them. You walk into the room and they're the ones that suck the air out of the room. They are the ones that say negative things when you're trying to be positive, right? They're the ones that are, I think that when we're thinking about, I'm perfect the way that I am, I don't have to adjust, I don't have to fit in, I belong in this room, that comes from inside because there's going to be naysayers externally and that are around you. There always are. And then there's going to be that little naysayer on the inside of you. So for all of you, don't listen to that little naysayer in the inside of you because that naysayer in the inside of you is the one that could possibly grow and say, you need to change. When the superstar in you, which is absolutely there, is saying, do it. We believe in you. You are perfect just the way you are. You're enough. You're not too much. You're Dolly Parton and Dollyland being iconic. And, that is the thing that's going to make your life wonderful and everybody else that's around you feel that wonderfulness. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Christina says you don't know how bad I needed this message today. So can we dig into this
yeah,
since we
let's
have a
do it.
live studio audience?
Mhm.
Let's dig into this a little. What is something that is too much about you? What is something that you're looking at that other people perhaps or you yourself have felt it's negative, it's a negative representation of you, like you don't fit in? What is something that we can flip around? Now, we got this really amazing advice. We were at Kathy Heller's house a couple weeks ago now? Who knows the time?
I don't know. What day
It
is it?
was
I have no idea.
sometime a few weeks ago. We're sitting at Kathy Heller's house. She has interviewed Matthew McConaughey, Deepak Chopra. Like she has worked with some of the most amazing people. And it's the Kathy Heller podcast, is what it is now. She's huge. I mean, like, I think she said she has 44 million downloads on this podcast. Okay. We're sitting there and she goes, and this is probably the most impactful thing I've heard. And I said this to my husband, and he was like, oh, she said, if you don't fit in, like she's like, a lot of us felt like we didn't fit in when we were younger, right? We didn't fit in. I didn't have a ton of friends. I had like four good friends. I would all look at my brother, and my brother had like the entire football team and everyone else is their friends. And I would kind of compare and think, I only have a few good friends. Like maybe if I was X, I'd have more friends, right? But she said, you didn't fit in because you were not meant to fit in. You are not meant to fit in, because people who are going to make changes in this world, people who are leaders, people who are going to, who think differently, they don't fit in. They are going to stand out. It's going to look different for them, right? Because people who are entrepreneurs, leaders, people who are doing things differently than the way they were raised are always going to feel like they don't fit in. I felt like I didn't fit in my family. I felt like I didn't fit in with my friends sometimes, right? Even the way I did college was different. I know, Minna, you didn't fit in either.
Yeah, still don't, never gonna. So yeah, I think that I always felt like I should fit in, which I think was rooted in how I grew up, right? We're two little I say two little Asian girls, but there's four girls. And I say two because I was in the same grade as my older sister. And we were, two little Asian girls. Our younger sister, the one next to us, is 5 years younger. But we were, I would say, forced into like ESL, English for a second language. We spoke perfect English. Things that people were trying to accommodate to us being the first Asian people in this small town in Storm Lake, Iowa, right? And so I get that. But my parents were very much like assimilate, assimilate, assimilate. Never rock the boat, never speak up, blend in. But you better believe that my whole life I've always had eyes on me. But honestly, internally, I always knew that I was different, that I was meant for more, like I had something in me because, we did this one timeline for this alignment coach that we're doing. And it was lots of different things about these different
It's
achievements
the
that I,
timeline of our lives that we had to go
yeah.
through from
So you see
past,
like
good and bad.
patterns.
Yes.
And so you can see in mine that I was always trying to achieve something really, really great. And then I'd always come back. Something great, something great and powerful, and then come back. And so I always felt that, but I always knew that in order to be, I was always told, in order to be safe, you blend in, you never speak up, you never laugh out loud, you never look anybody in the eye, and you never attract any sort of attention. Never. And so I grew up with that my whole life. So it took a really long time for me to find my voice in all of that. And when I did, I felt like, oh, wow, I feel like such a weight has been lifted off of me. And it didn't come from out there. Okay. It came from in here. I had it all along. It was just that I finally started to believe it. Right. So um, even in the story of my life, right? My parents they did what they felt was comfortable for all of us, right? They're from refugee camps. My husband was actually born in the refugee camps. He's 44 years old. God, I had to really dig deep for how old he was. 44 years old, born in refugee camps, in prison when they tried to escape, came over. His dad was killed in that whole thing 44 years ago. I was already in the United States, born in the United States. We didn't meet each other till post college, but we have a very similar upbringing, right? And so when we got married, him being the oldest son and everything, it was almost like reinforce this life that we were going to live. I shouldn't be too much. I shouldn't dream too much. I shouldn't ask for too much. I really belonged in, if I definitely know that my parents wanted me to work in like corporate America, like something steady. It could be a doctor, it could be a lawyer, whatever. That's probably, but mostly it was that I was going to be working for somebody and preparing the meals and living my life that way. But my life is nothing like that right now. My husband, who is has a doctorate in pharmacy, now works at home for Little Labels, a business that I grew. Our two little girls, both Chaidam, live in a 2% diverse town in Iowa still. But they have a different upbringing because of what they see, what they're exposed to, right? What they hear, what they believe. And so they never think that they're too much. And so I just want to share that because no matter what your environment is, you, my friends, have it inside of you to pull yourself out of that environment and put yourself in the right things to make it easier on yourself to be able to shine the way that you need to. Okay. And I think that Jacqueline actually has like a really similar story to mine in that, kind of, I mean, why do people call it the black sheep? But you get the idea of not fitting exactly into
And I
the square
yeah.
peg.
So I'm the oldest of 5 kids.
Mhm.
And actually, I don't think I'm the black sheep, but what I realized was that I was in a very loud family, and if I had my own thoughts or ideas, and so this is kind of similar in our Mina and I have both been working on past trauma work. And for me, it was if I said my opinion, I actually got in trouble. So I thought like, there were things that came up when I was younger that I was like, this is not right. Like I knew that they weren't right. Like philosophically they weren't right. And I would speak up and I would get in trouble for having a voice, especially in the family I grew up in because it was very my dad is Moroccan Israeli, it was like Middle Eastern. It was like this kind of like women were not like it was men and then women, right? Which is why I fought
Yeah.
so hard for women in my life. So it was not that I was meant to be seen and not heard, but like I really would get in trouble for being heard. So I kind of think that and I definitely have always taken leadership roles at school or like, but it was never like, I never went out for, it was leadership, but it wasn't leadership with like people had to vote on me leadership. Does that make sense? Like I would step
Mhm.
forward and take initiative. And I think within my own places that I took initiative, but then even with my friends when I was growing up, I realized like because we had this small group of friends and we were kind of like haters of everybody else, because we were compare and despair kind of people. And then but I was on the soccer team and like I'd have other friends and I also felt like my friends were like, oh, she's over there. So it was interesting because as I try to like blend in and be very like team oriented and group oriented, because again, oldest of 5 kids, I had a lot of responsibility, but I would get in trouble a lot of times with people when I stepped out of wherever I was supposed to be, according to them. And what's interesting now as an adult, they do look up to me, like they do ask me questions, they do see me in a different way than like I probably even see myself. But that impact of what Kathy Heller had said was like, oh, I did things different. Like my life is different. I don't, I've moved around a lot. I've had companies. I mean, when I was 26, I grew a 6-figure business, like that's bonkers. And everybody else was working for other people. And they would look at me and they would say, wow. I remember when I left UC Santa Barbara to go to art school, which I went to Otis College of Art and Design, which is a 4-year bachelor's degree, hard to get into. But people are like, your parents are letting you leave a UC to go to art school? Like they could not fathom that like I was going to pay, especially when you and I were growing up, college was so important to go to
Yeah.
art school. Like what was I going to do with an art degree? Well, look at me now, friends, look at me now, right? And so I think the thing is what we want you to all feel is like if you don't fit in where you are in the world that you're living in, wherever it is in the world, right? You don't fit in with the moms on the playground, or you don't fit in with your family, or your spouse doesn't understand you, or wherever you are. Like even in someone said that they work as a woman engineer and that it's her and 9 guys, right?
Yeah.
So she's like, having my jewelry side biz allows me to be myself and create something beautiful. Find the place, find the community, find the people, but also know that your superpower is authentically who you are. Because people are going to, if Mina and I tried to be anything different than the way we are, like I could tell you I'm too vulnerable or I say too
I'm too
much.
funny.
Yes, you are. You're incredibly funny. No, but I used to get in trouble growing up. If I look back, I would get in trouble for talking too much in school. What's crazy is that you weren't allowed to
Yeah.
talk.
So here's the flip side of that. The irony of this, okay? I would be picked out of the classroom for not talking enough. They didn't know if I could hear or see the board. So I would so I would have to go take hearing tests. The irony is that I really do have a hearing problem. But they're like, "She's picking up on this. She's not answering a question." I'm asking her.
Parents told you to fit in, don't stand out. Nobody look at me.
I shall not respond to this question because I'm not allowed to ask questions. So how would I even know how to answer a question, right? So I
But
do
look at
there's a
us
lot
now,
of
though.
yeah.
Mina, they thought she was like, couldn't hear and couldn't
Yeah.
speak
So, hello? Mina?
and was in ESL, but she could speak perfect English because she
Yes.
was born in
But I
America.
did a voice. I can speak perfect English.
Because you weren't allowed. And I
Yeah.
got in trouble for talking too much. They were like, "Do, do, do, chatty Cathy
Yeah.
over there."
Which by the way, pioneers here. I really want to put that flag in the ground. Hello. My sister and I in Iowa were the pioneers of the freaking ESL program. So, hello,
Well,
here we are.
you put a flag outside your house and you let people know. But what's cuckoo nuts over here is that these two women, I grew up in Los Angeles, Mina grew up in Iowa. There was no reason we should have ever met. We would have never met in real life, but we found each other on the internet through a podcast, through a
Mhm.
community. We started talking, we connected through business, which is why we've created Multi-Stream Machine and this like community for Multi-Stream Machine. But we met, and then what's bonkers nuts is that we're literally a top 10 marketing podcast in the world,
Mhm.
right? We're at the top 0.5% of podcasts ever speaking. So
Yeah.
my superpower that I got in trouble for is speak. Mina's superpower is that she speaks and thinks. I left thinking out of mine, but you got the thinking. And somehow we've made money, we've built community. There are people that are all literally in Spain right now listening to our voices, and we would have never. So authentically, you are who you are, and authentically, you will become who you become. And it's who you're going to be around. It's who you're going to, Mina put herself in different situations than her, like you became an
Yeah, it's the
entrepreneur.
other side of discomfort. Also, it was hard. There's a few that I want to read off because I want to bring them a little bit to the light. Okay. So Erica says one of the things she deals with is that people think she dreams too much. I get that. So I'm going to come back to that. Dawn says too many ideas, too many tangents. Um, so some people said talking too much, right? So there's all these things that we're like too much. Um, and I think these two tie into each other, thinking that, people look at you and they're like, ooh, she does too many crazy things or too many ideas. You would not believe how many times that has been put on me that I change too many things or I have too many ideas or I'm dreaming too big or whatever it is. Like, just remember, I did a graphic design business. I almost started a candle business. I don't know if I've ever told you that. But I like rallied my younger sister with me and we were going to do it and then decided not to because it was just too many ideas. I also was a real estate agent for a year and a half. That was the worst one. I was really not suited for that. Because I'm terrible at directions and terrible at selling in person. No, I mean, at that point I was. I also started a scrapbooking events company, highly successful in that. Did that for 7 years, and that was a local thing. Sold scrapbooking clothing. Always did graphic design throughout the whole thing. What else have I done? I've done so many things, and you better believe that people have said, "Well, what are you doing now? What is it you do?" So many different things. Oh, Mina's got her head in the clouds again. All these different
I
things.
love your head in the clouds. It makes me so excited.
And so the thing is, it took me a long time to realize that has nothing to do with me.
Hmm.
That is their projection onto me that they want to be comfortable or they want me to be comfortable, but I'm doing what I want to do. And a lot of times I'm uncertain about it, of course, like anything in life. But this is who I was meant to be: an idea giver, a big dreamer, a this person, whoever I am, really funny, like I said, whatever, whatever ends up being, all the flaws, all the strengths, whatever it is, I just get to be me. And that is my mark on the world. Just like Dolly is Dolly and you, Erica, are you, Erica, right? And it's not, you don't have to be more than you are. You don't have to be less than you are. You're perfect the way that you are. And let's bring that to the world.
Yeah, Nami said, I think I stand out because my brain wraps around questions and problems and see from different perspectives. I would say that that's the same thing for me. I used to when business cards were a thing. I was funny on my business card and I said like fashion designer, consultant, fire putter outer, problem solver. Because the thing about your brain, my friend, is that you're a problem solver. You can look at things and you could see them and different perspectives, and you're the way your brain works is uniquely special to you. But she also said that she grew up feeling like she should get a job for a company. And I know how to work hard and would want to stand out for recognition. After starting my own business, I don't know how to reward or pay myself. I feel like I just don't deserve it or that I'm greedy. And then the other thing I think Valerie said was that growing up in a Christian family where humility is everything, I can tell a lot of people in my life think I have too big of an ego. So let's dig into that a little bit.
Okay, let's do my husband checks me on this, okay? So,
Dude,
I'm serious. So,
checks
you
you.
remember we have a similar upbringing, okay? And so Jacqueline
You and
and I
your
are doing
husband.
we yeah, similar upbringing. We our dream is much bigger, like a million times bigger
You and
than
me.
either one of our families. No, mine and my
Oh,
husband's, okay?
okay.
And so then we're still around our families and everything like that, but every single time that I'll start, sometimes they'll ask me like what I'm doing and I will start to say it or whatever. I don't talk about numbers or anything like that, but I'm doing big things at this point, right? And he's along for the ride. But when we start talking about it, you can start to see how uncomfortable he is because he feels like it's a big ego, right? And the thing is for me is that I I understand that to a certain point, but and then I just show it in different ways. I feel like humility and humbleness is important. That's because it's internal in my values. So if it's internal in your values, wonderful. But my friend, that's because I'm grounded in that for myself. So when I say certain things, it's not because I have a big ego. It's because I'm proud of myself and it should be. If I think that you have to be grounded in your own self to know that's important to me or that's not important to me or whatever it is, because you, Valerie, know that it's not a big ego. You've done incredible things, incredible. You're not doing it to make them feel small. You just happen to be very big. Like you've done big, huge things. So I think that, yes, Valerie says, but without my ego, air quotes, and self confidence today, there's no way I would be where I am today, right? Because sometimes we feel like we should minimize ourselves to make other people feel comfortable. And you don't need to minimize yourself. You need to be grounded in you knowing that what you're doing is amazing. You can at will tell them what you're doing or what you're not doing, whatever. You don't owe anybody an explanation, but it's not an ego thing. I think that you should also know that there's a kind of a I hate using the word balance, but I'm going to use the word balance here of doing what's right for you and knowing that it's not a big ego. Like you said, it's the self confidence of being who you are. It just happens to be bigger than they're able to think for themselves.
And I just want to come in at a different angle about humility, because when I look at the definitions, if we look at the straight up Merriam-Webster Oxford Language definition of humility is a modest or low view of one's importance or
Hmm.
humbleness. So a modest or low view of one's importance. I think that we can get caught up in this word and actually read it differently than I think the way that I
Yeah.
your
I read
importance
it
is.
differently too.
So this is what positive psychology, there's a article on this, is this is the thing I want to say back to you, okay? It's a virtue, but humility, I'm reading this from them. Humility has nothing to do with meekness or weakness, and neither does it mean being self-effacing or submissive. Humility is an attitude of spiritual modesty that comes from understanding our place in the larger order of things. And here's the click one I want you guys to hear. It entails not taking our desires, successes, or failings too seriously. Because I think a lot of times we find we need to have humility for our success, but our failings can be just as serious, right? Oh,
Hmm.
I have too much of an ego because I'm successful. But this is also a flip to the other side of the failings part too. It really is just not taking things too seriously and understanding the world in a greater whole. If you have a launch and the launch doesn't do well, then it is what it is,
It's
right?
not
Like in the
attached to
larger order of
you.
things. Yeah. And if it does do well and you make $1 million, then cool,
Again,
right?
it's not attached to you. It
Yeah.
does not change your importance or significance in this world,
Yes.
right?
And I think that's what I want you all to think about, because I listen, if it's biblical, if it's there's just different ways of thinking about this in different ways. And the thing I want you all to realize is, again, you're perfect exactly as you are.
Mhm.
If Mina's
I have
heads weren't in the clouds, we wouldn't be
another
here.
taco story.
Please, let me just sip my smoothie while you speak taco.
So last night, I was gonna have another taco. This is before I realized they were 2 years expired. So I'm having this I have the
We
shell.
actually had this last night too, but we wrap them in lettuce.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome to Los
That
Angeles.
is not a taco. That is a lettuce wrap. Okay.
Exactly. No carbs.
Okay. So I'm warming up probably my 3rd taco at this point, right? And, I'm doing it in an air fryer. And, air fryer is like a convection oven, so it kind of does the wind, does the air through it. So my husband's there next to me, and I close the air fryer, and you can hear the taco go, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, you need to check on that." I was like, "No, no, it's okay. The universe will take care of it." And so I'm just letting it go. And he's like, "No, it's gonna break apart." It's like, "No, no, it's fine. Universe will take care of it." And he steps back and he's like, "I know that you believe that. Like it was a bad thing that and I was like, "It doesn't matter if it breaks. That's the thing." And so for him, it was really hard for him to be up in the clouds with me, like, the universe will take care of it. It did break apart, by the way. Um,
Did you have nachos?
yes. It didn't matter. It was the same thing. It wasn't like it was a fault of
Just a
that
different way of
taco.
eating it.
Yeah, exactly. But he was just like, "I know you believe that." Like, it was so ridiculous, whereas I just think of that, I release that. Like, what does it matter if it's whole or separate? Yeah, nachos instead, pivot. That's right, Erica. Tasted the same in my mind. Just as good.
Just a different version, just
Very
little bits
variation,
instead of the whole
right?
thing.
I'm just living my life, not worried about this taco that's flipping around in this air fryer. You and I got bigger things to think about. And so for all of you, like, you all have to think about, it'll be fine. And you just get to be whatever you want. Even if your husband is standing there like, "I know you believe that. Like, you're so ridiculous." Yeah, of course I do. Because it is a benefit that my head is in the clouds, because my mind is the most important thing that's making this life happen. But also, it is okay. I'm perfect the way I am. Obviously, I'm not saying this to him. I'm perfect the way I am.
Well, you should. And this is the deal. If your head are the people whose head are in the clouds are the people who make change. So my
Yeah.
friend who said, they said that their mom I think it was Christina, who said, "I'm over here crying. My grandmother used to tell me my head was in the clouds." That's because she wasn't probably raised to think like I think about my grandma and the way
She
that
didn't
my
get she didn't get the privilege or the option even to be anything else. She had to be really pragmatic and practical.
Yeah. So it's generational stuff that we have to like flip over. But what we want you all to know is whether you talk too much, you're too much for your small town in Nebraska, your head's in the clouds, your family thought you should do it this way and you've done it that way. You're the only entrepreneur in town. You're the only woman working in your corporate job. You're the only person with the side hustle. You are a single mom raising kids, trying to do all the things, right? You are perfect exactly as you are. And the thing is if you try to be anything else, being inauthentic is not the way we're going to go through this life. So the thing is that if Mina and I didn't cackle on this YouTube, we're not even on YouTube. If we didn't cackle on this podcast, oh, we are on YouTube. Hey, YouTube. If we didn't cackle, this is aired. Hey, YouTube.
If we were more streamlined than this and not like, thoughts every which way. "Oh, hey, YouTube. Yep. See you over here, Facebook." Anyways, if we were not the way that we are.
And laughing, but giving business advice. We get
Yeah.
reviews on the podcast that are like, it feels like we're sitting down to friends talking about business. Oh, look, Miss Chanel is on YouTube and says, "Hey." That's the first person saying, "Hey," on YouTube.
Yay.
We've got one subscriber, and it's you.
Hi, listener, right? That's like the Smartless podcast. They talk to one listener.
Hello, listener. Tracy in Wisconsin. That's his sister. So the thing is that we wouldn't be as successful as we are if we tried to be like, "Don't laugh. We're on a
Dolly was
podcast.
not
Don't you
Dolly,
laugh."
she'd be Polly.
If Dolly was not Dolly, no one would know about her. She'd be wherever
Yeah.
she is singing, wherever she would be singing.
Yes.
Right?
Mhm.
So the thing is that Dolly's like the perfect example of like extreme. Oprah has paved so many paths for so many people and was like, this is who I am and this is how I'm gonna be. Right. We have these women that are shaking things up, and we want you to continue to shake things up. Shake up the world you're in. Shake up the little community you're in. Shake up the playground. Shake up your household.
Be you despite what other people are
Yes.
thinking or wanting from you in your life, you
We
know?
have one life to
Yeah.
live. And if we are not who we are, I'm not saying not to grow, right? There is growth. Mina and I are working like our booties off trying to work on like mindset stuff right now as we've grown and our business has gotten bigger and all the things that we're doing. Like we sometimes don't have the capacity to hold where we are now, right?
Yeah,
But
our
we
growth.
our growth, and that's something for all of you too, right? So the thing is that as you continue to be yourself authentically, there's like going to the, getting the tune-ups, like, okay, my mindset needs to be like not fixed but like worked on. Yeah, like for me, I've been working on not feeling so bad about myself, right? Like having being proud of myself, because again, remember, I always thought I was in trouble. So there's things like that that we're going through that are going to make us different and change. But authentically, I'm not going to stop being vulnerable to people. I'm not going to stop being funny. I'm not going to stop being a leader. I'm not going to stop being an entrepreneur. Like there are things that I'm just going to be, and like my mom is like number one. Like she walks, wow, you work a lot. Like it's because her,
Wow. If she only knew. I mean,
and
she
I
would be shook.
and I don't cook, right? And I used to feel really guilty that like I didn't cook for my children because my mom did, and then I'm working and whatever. And then I was like, you know what? This is the version of mom that they're gonna see. And when I host my family here, I'm gonna order food in, and that is how it is, right? Instead of
Mhm.
feeling um like trying to be something that's just inauthentically me. It's just not me. And that's taken a lot of work. So, our goal for
Yeah.
all of you in creating this world for you all to be in with us, to hear us in your earbuds, to be in our programs with us, is that, and what we said about multi-stream machine is a lot of times for all of you, especially our friends who decided not to take us up on joining the program right now, it's just a right now thing. It's not that you don't believe that the program has what we offer. It's not that you don't believe that if you like, it's not that we believe that we know exactly what we're giving you and that it's had results for thousands of people. It's you believing that you
Mhm.
as yourself, if you believe in yourself, if you believe if I just take these steps, if I just try something different, it's you believing in yourself that you've had it in you all along, like Dorothy. And that's the mindset stuff, because we get so stuck in, oh, I'm not smart like these people. I don't have as much time as these people. Oh, maybe my product's not as great. I'm not a business person. I don't know about business. I'm too much. I'm too little.
Or
I'm
now's not the right time. I can't do this. I don't have the money. I don't have the time. I'm working my full time job right now. Whatever it is, we always have those things that limit us, right? And I think that one really, really, really big thing about getting into multi stream machine is you have the environment to be able to grow to whatever you want to be. So I'm going to give the example of my daughter. I think I talk about her all the time, Layla, where she is. Remember, she's the one that I talk about that she's going to be an artiste, right? She's always wanted to
she's
be an
Willa
artiste.
just put on her, she got student of the week and it said, what do
Uh-huh.
you want to be when you grow up? She put artist. And I was like,
Oh,
she's like, I'm not
really?
sure what kind of artist yet. Maybe makeup, maybe fashion designer, da da da. And I was like, cool, girl, you've got your whole like cool.
Right?
Do
So then it's
this.
like she's surrounding herself. Imagine that she is a student in multi-stream machine and she's surrounding herself with people that are like, cool, yeah, I love that. I've done it. I'm going to show that I'm doing it and you can do it too, right? So for all of you, with my daughter, she's always wanted to be an artist. So get this. She's talking to me just the other day and she's like, she's like, if I go, she's been crying at night. Okay. If I sleep so many days without crying, this is what keeps me up at night. It's like she cries. If I sleep 4 days without crying in a row, can you get me a bird watching book? And I was like, yes, absolutely. And she's like, I think I'm going to be a bird watcher. I saw on YouTube, I've learned a few sounds already, and now I'm going to be a bird watcher. So in my head, I'm like, okay, what do I say here? And I said, great. I think that you should be a bird watcher. That's great. How about we get you some books if you, sleep 4 nights in a row, right? Because in a community and environment of like, hey, let's get you the right tools, she can discover who she really is and what she wants to be. It's not for me to say if she's a bird watcher, an artiste, or whatever, but she's getting to see that the world is full of possibilities, right? And she has it in her to be whatever she wants. She's not too much, she's not too little, she's perfect how she is. And she gets to see where does that end up with what she wants to be. And I'm just saying, here's the tools to help you discover who you are, right? So that is what multi-stream machine is. It's giving you the community. It's so important that says, hey, all of us are doing this together. Here's the tools. I'm doing my thing over here. I totally believe that you can do your thing over there. And let's come together with these tools and know that we believe in each other because we are doing this amazing life that isn't like anybody else. And we get to do it just by being ourselves,
Yeah.
right?
Authentically who you are, because I manifested you. I realized I didn't realize this, but
Oh, wow.
Minna on my vision board. Um, when I started my business at 26, I kind of fell into it. I had a partner when I started it. I was going to, like, she knew more than I did. And we started helping people start fashion lines, right? This was like the thing. And then she got pregnant with her second kiddo. She's like, I'm out. She had her own clothing line. She was out. And I know Jennifer wants us to wrap up, but I have this story and then we'll wrap. She's not usually
Story of
monitoring our
Jennifer's
podcast.
life. Start to wrap it up, ladies.
She's not usually listening to us. We just send her the audio. So she left me with like a couple clients, and this is the thing that I was doing. And I remember as I was growing this business, because remember, I went to art school. I have my bachelor's in fine arts. Like, I became a fashion designer to work for other people. I used to think if I only had a business partner that knew business, someone who like went to school for business, I would be more successful, right? And then I used to think that I always needed this business partner, that I was too much of a creative, and that like what did I even know what I was doing, right? And so like, well, so there you're my business. Oh, there, we're done on Instagram. Let's just post that.
Okay, we lost Instagram. Wow, this happens every single time. Okay,
We
so
talk.
for all of you that are listening on the podcast, you'll get to hear this,
No, we'll have our
story.
editor cut it out.
Um, no,
Okay.
we still got this recording. We're good.
I know, but I'm just saying he can cut out he can cut out whatever's happening here. Can I
Yeah.
hear you? Okay.
Hi. Mhm.
So, all right, so we'll cut this part and get back to the story. So this is what the editor does. Hello, editor. Okay. So, going back to my story. Oh, I needed a business partner. So I believed that I wasn't good at business, right? 26-year-old, started my own company, made hundreds of thousands, like I got it up to $500,000 a year. And I believed I wasn't good at business because I needed a business partner. Well, one, I have a partner now in my second business that has her master's in business and says she doesn't use anything from her degree.
Yeah,
So
that's my joke. I use like 2%.
so I still got the business person who doesn't really do it now. But the thing for you guys to realize is, so eventually with a coach that I had finally had after a decade in business, she had said, raise your prices. I was like, oh my God, no one's going to ever pay me to raise my prices. And I did. I went from charging $1,800 a month for what I was doing for people to this one client who took up the majority of my work, $10,000 a month. I went to him and I was like, look, you take up like 6 different clients worth of time in this business. I'm going to have to charge you $10,000. Not I'm going to have to, but I'm changing this to $10,000 a month if you want to continue to work together. I was so scared because he was one of my bigger clients, but wasn't paying me anymore. And I was so afraid. And he was like, yeah, yes, we cannot lose you. Yes. This guy jumped to paying $10,000 a month for my consulting. And then I remember we were in a meeting together because I designed the whole line. We got him on revolve.com. It was like incredible. I go to him one day, I just sometimes I just don't feel like I'm good at business. And he, a man, looks at me and goes, I'm literally paying you $10,000 a month to tell me how to grow my business. You're good at business. I don't know what you're thinking. And I was like, wow. Cause it was a man reflecting to me, because I would feel I would feel less than with men in the room, like as a businesswoman.
It's a different dynamic.
And I would feel like I didn't know the words, like what's net versus gross income. Like I always felt jumbled and confused and less than, because I didn't have this business degree. But this guy was paying me a ton of money and told me I knew about business. And I was like, what am I thinking? Of course I know about business. I am an entrepreneur. I started this at 26 from nothing. I went a different route than other people take. I'm not still working. I have friends that were at Nike and Abercrombie and Quicksilver, and they've been working for years there. And I went a different path, and I was successful, and I was making more money than they were making, right? Like all of these things, because I was able to be an entrepreneur. And I was like, what am I thinking? Like, this is exactly who I am and exactly who I'm supposed to be. Other people saw it in me, but I didn't. So again, going back to the whole point of this is that we want you to authentically be you and know that who you are, the little things that you each have, are actually your superpower. Standing out, being different, not fitting in is actually your superpower. These are the things that make you who you are, right? Like these are the things that make you an entrepreneur. This is why you're sitting here watching us or listening to us live and doing something differently than other people, because you had a creative idea and you thought, can I make that? So one, you figured out how to make it. Two, you figured out how to sell it, right? And you're improving your business. You're an entrepreneur. Not
Mhm.
everybody is built like us. So be authentically you. Listen to
Not
Oprah.
everybody. Most people are not built like all of us, right? Because it takes a lot to be an entrepreneur. It's in our blood in a lot of ways, in our minds, right? Our brains are always racing. We have wonderful ideas. We, just need the lids lifted off of our brains a lot of times, because we're the ones who put the limiting beliefs on our brains. And then it takes a community, or it takes the right mentors, or it takes somebody saying something that you're like that guy that reflected back to you, that you're like, oh my gosh, what am I thinking? I don't need this lid. I don't need this lid on my head. I don't need this
Yeah,
lid that's keeping me, thinking that I am not enough when I am perfect, and I get to be me, and I get to do things differently because I was made to stand out, because I've always stood out. And that is the thing that's going to make my life so joyful. And I am going to take this path, right?
yeah. So I hope that this is inspiring to you today, that, this idea of being authentically you, standing in that power, finding it, and then finding yourself the support, continuing to work on your mindset, and finding this as the superpower that you have versus a defect or making you less than, right?
Yeah.
You, as Susan says, you were made to stand out, right? You were not meant to fit in. You would
Mhm.
not be here. You were not meant to fit in. And this is the thing that's going to get you further. And we're so incredibly grateful that you're all here with us, and that you listen to the podcast and all the things. So thank you again. And I hope that this made a change. And if it did, just let us know. Like, you can leave a review on the podcast, which is awesome. Make sure to follow the show and come say hi to us over on Instagram or YouTube,
Yeah.
because we have one person watching on YouTube live
Yes.
right now.
Yes. Hi, listener.
Hello, listener on YouTube.
Yes. So thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in to our final episode of Bosses in the Blend. We will be back for another season. I'm not sure when, but soon. And we appreciate you spending the time with us. And I hope that you all have enjoyed this podcast episode. Very special, because with our live studio audience. And we will see you inside Multi-Stream Machine.
And anyone that was joining us late, we just want to let you know, I stopped the recording on QuickTime, by the way.
Okay.
So that was us. So really quick, that was us doing this off the cuff. So you can see how we can just go back and forth banter, and then it's going to turn into a podcast that's slightly edited. Really just the parts where we mess up. But for anyone that missed it, we decided to reopen the doors to Multi-Stream Machine for just 12 hours, because a bunch of you sent us email messages saying, I missed it. I'm so sorry. Like, can I get in? So, like, there's more people out there, and it looks like a few people have taken us up on this already. I don't know if you're all watching live or not, but just to quickly tell you, Birdie signed up, Ashley, Michelle, and Bethany just in the last hour. So we're glad that we were able to open up the doors again for all of you that just joined. And they will slam shut tonight. Like, we're
Yeah.
done,
For
but
real.
this is
For
your
real.
last chance, for real.
And then that podcast episode, I actually named it "You Were Made to Stand Out."
Ooh, I like it. I'll title it that right now. Anyone else?
All
Would you
right.
guys open that? Would that be a podcast episode
Yeah,
you
would you
listen
all
to?
listen? And make sure you all subscribe, okay? That's the thing that makes a difference. It's actually called follow now on Apple Podcasts. So make
Yeah.
sure you're following us on Apple Podcasts. It's a little plus button now instead of I don't know, it used to be something else. So make sure that you are following us, aka subscribing, and you won't miss an episode.
This was so fun. All right, my friends. So the just as a quick homework thing, the Facebook group will be shutting down this evening for the group. And so make sure that you get your last post in and all the things. And then we will see all of our multi-stream machine students inside of the multi-stream machine Facebook group. And we cannot wait to continue to help you all grow your businesses.
Yeah. Thanks,
See you on the
everybody.
podcast.